It's early morning, and all Amanda sees is that wall of water in front of her. We are at one of those 1,000 points of light. Jesus' immaculate house, to be built yet. And Father Olfactory's on top of the cathedral dome, where that wall of water is. And he reaches through, takes her hand and pulls her through just in time to see that sunrise. And that bird flying up into the heavens. Make that video of your stolen call to me, 424-229-4140. Come tell me in person what you think of that parable. I'm Milton, addressing Catholics worldwide. If you don't want another fetus-hating, cowardly Hussein at the top of America's government, right after we got attacked by a whole lot of cowardly Husseins, both of which were sending a message to the world and true believers of the world. If you don't want that to happen, you have to point out what placed that cowardly Hussein in our White House. Whatever boring thing you get when you don't get me, not going to be boring. If you need the firemen, police, paramedics, it's money out of your pocket every day. Your AT&T livelihood. When you're calling up countless parishioners or voters and telling them all about that plan to place a cowardly Hussein, you're getting a boring thing. Phone ringing, error message, business signal. That's why. So point that out. We don't want another cowardly Hussein, do we? I finished Old English as September 1 instead of the original font it was, and I put it on that nice I call it GB loop. 2 or 3 one, the lighter one. And it's on SoChemAtLive.com. Download these dip photos. Print me out when you print out your next set of family photos, and yeah, hand a extra set or 2 out to those who enjoy the saints. And try to call me, 424-229-4140. See the devil stealing that saint's image you got in mind, and come see me in person, 4260 Eagle Boulevard, apartment 419, Los Angeles, California, 90065. Tell me all about that saint that needs an image. Make it through, I think I did. David runs a news station that caters to special interests that manage it. Meaning they can't report on truth if it reflects badly upon the Chinese or Muslims or the Mormon cult or this or that or the other, just to use a few examples. And he's in that morning meeting, he's telling everyone, do not pass the buck to me. You're here to answer those questions about Hard News Corporation not doing its job. And all of a sudden Susan's phone starts ringing in her pocket. And after a while David says, aren't you going to answer that? And she says, no. And he goes back to telling them to be unethical. And yes, Susan, she hates that. The phone rings, and then she has to interrupt that phone audio recording of Wiram Wadeo of bad folks being bad. I've told you about Tommy cheating on Rhea Tommy the no-armed Chinese fella, manager of the streets of the unseen business. I've told you about that, how she found his video made with his oriental nose-picking hussy. Yeah, the tall ones work, but yeah, don't have the paper clips in. I told you about that, and she's checking to see if he's got more. She posted it to the internet. She said, Tommy is a no-armed oriental nose-picking cheater. And she's looking again, and she finds him doing the snake dance for his Lou mistress. And yeah, he's sleeping over there by the TV. It's not going to be fun at Tommy's house again tonight. Larry, Harry, and Barry are three doctors out on the golf course a-golfing. And as they walk along, golf court around, one is telling the others about all the things that this doctor's doing at his office and at the hospital, and yes, stuff that's not quite above board. Something maybe for a Senate subcommittee looking into America's hijacked lifelines and democracy. Can't reach me. Can't tell me who I should vote for. Anyway, they see one. You don't know how many others you can't. They see one squirrel and says, look at that. I've seen that. They pick them up, they tag them, they put them out again. And they said, that's not that kind of a tag. It looks like a phone. And yes, the squirrel goes from hole to hole, listening in. We're with Dale with that phone audio maker on. Perhaps a video maker if it's a very good camera squirrel. Finding out all about what those doctors and others are up to. We're with Dale. More on a squirrel because of the ever-present eyes and ears of technology. Be a part of it. Make that video if you hijack call to me right now. Putin has shown some military folks to this big mansion in Russia, and he's taken them to the pool, and there is Susan Wojcicki, worth $490 million, runs YouTube, and the military says the Senate subcommittee requests your presence, and she says, you sold me out, Putin. And Putin says, oh no, Susan, I'm too old to start backing up now. You saw what trouble we had with those cowardly Hussein placers in Afghanistan. And yes, they'd take her back to America to testify before that Senate subcommittee and invoke the Fifth about hiding America's lifelines. The hijacking of America's lifelines that long. And yeah, he walks over to these two bushes and he says, they want you too, Newsom, Garcetti. So Tommy is on a long business trip. He has to go to Washington. It's something Chinese. If ever you see something incredibly stupid that the government spends money on, any government around the world, it's Chinese. And Tommy's there with an admiral and a general, and they walk in to request that stupid thing, doesn't matter which. And yes, it's other members of the military picking up that admiral and that general for the streets, internment camps, to protect the world, to make sure we don't have more 9/11s.
And yes, they tried to run, but yes, it's well planned out. They picked these guys up. Make that video if you hijack call to me. That's Chinese as well, that this admiral and this general go into that Guantanamo of the streets with funny replacements in their shoes. That's your family's lifeline being hijacked. Those admirals and those generals praying to the wrong folks. 9/11 Muslim devil down below. The general runs into the Oval Office and he says to Trump, you got to see these. And he shows him some videos, first of which is Mayor Garcetti had a photo op and they ask about me, Melton. John Melton Brady not getting one, Flight 93 check call in over a decade of asking. And he pauses for a moment and then he says, I'm sorry, Trump will not let me talk about that. Same goes with Governor Newsom, old Catholic guy. His photo op and all across America doing the same thing. Lifelines are affected by all those folks across America. And yes, Tommy runs up to each and every one of them and whispers in that ear. And then the next day as Trump is doing his photo op, same question, Tommy runs up and yes, he says, I'm sorry, Putin won't let me answer to that question. Yes, about America's hijacked lifeline. Tommy, the no-armed Chinese fellow, is doing a little smoking on the job. Yes, that funny little cigarette kind of stuff. He can do that. And no, he's not at the office. He's at home with his mistress, Lou, the female Oriental nose picker. Yes, Tommy is the guy who lost his arm, stuck the right arm into a wood chipper because his boss told him to. And Lefty, the left arm, wisely jumped off, got him a promotion, but yeah, he's missing both arms. And I need coins. This one's got coins. And if it's windy, yes. Lou says, I don't feel right doing this at your house here. Where's Rhea? And Tommy says, oh, don't worry about stupid Rhea. She's out of town on a business trip, and yeah, they're both smoking that funny stuff, and they look over, and there's Rhea at the door, and he says, oh, hi, Rhea. And yeah, party over. Wu has sent Tommy, he's his boss, to a political rally of an elected official. He's heard that something bad's going to be happening, and Tommy's on the job. He's looking all around, and the guy's up there talking in front of all those folks, and someone holds up a big 5 and he says, why can't I reach Melton by phone? He's been asking for Flight 93 checks for over a decade and has yet to get one. And Tommy senses, he senses what that politician's going to do. So he yells out, no! But it doesn't have an effect. He says, I've heard about that. And I've had my people looking into it. He's on camera, keep in mind. Everybody, pick up your phones and try to call Melton. John Melton Brady, 424-229-4140. I swear my computer gets slower and slower. He is overseeing a couple of Louisianians, Elias and San Bernardino, talking to Trump and some cops from California, and Elias says we don't know who this guy is who's designing all that beautiful imagery. But listen, this is the devil sister of Melton, John Melton Brady. Her and her gay husband, Samuel N. Bond, and they call him up, and yes, she says there's an echo here. And yes, there are 3 or 4 of the Devil Lorries and Samuel N. Bond, and yes, the cops say, well, lots of different folks have Stone Cold Mountain, John Milton Brady's immaculate apartment under constant surveillance, and we want to know what your active part is in being treasonous. That's a threat to our country. That devil bitch Lori Ann Brady Bond and those with her. I'll do that. Point out folks who are a danger to our country. Document their fraud as well. As this Tommy parable starts, Tommy and Ching are dressed all in black. They've got the hood of a car up. And Tommy is reaching in with his mouth and just pulling stuff out, throwing it left and right. Yeah, he's Chinese. He's just angry. Likes doing stuff like that. But, yeah, I know the Devil Bonds are having car trouble. California Cheryl Bond with his Mideast wife, Iranian wife, I think, moved. And Devil Lori with her gay husband, Samuel N. Bond. I know they're having car karma because they're going after the past worker again. Said I'll be there at the end of the week. I'll be there yesterday. I'll be there later on today, and then called with the car trouble one. Yeah, car karma. That's the streets way of telling me. Devil Lori's having some car karma. Ask her how she gets her phone to work to taunt her brother. Tommy's in a good mood. He's going to give his employees Friday the 13th afternoon off. And Rhea's got a nice new recipe of cat. Yeah, they love the cats and the dogs, no, not as pets, as dinner, those Orientals. And so he goes into the very back office, and yes, Wang and Oliver are watching some Chinese porn. Yes, Chinese porn, they're doing that, and they're picking their nose as well, and it just so happens that, he says, go get out of here, don't do that at work, and yeah, he sits down and watches for a little while, and yes, Wu's got that surveillance cam going, and he's checking on him, and yeah, he's going to have something else besides AA, Amputees Anonymous at the bar, his support group, Nose Pickers Anonymous, and Anger Management. He's got another, yes, Porn Addicts Anonymous. I'm Melton. Come see me in person. Tell me about that Tommy parable you got. Tell me what you think of mine. Tommy is the no-armed Chinese fellow. Lost both his arms in a wood chipper incident, but did become a manager of the streets of the unseen business. And he's gone in to work, and yes, Aaliyah has a whole bunch of Melton's imagery on her desk, just a couple of paper clips and some tape, and it just drives Tommy wild. He says, take that down, and she says, no. It ends up with Tommy yelling and screaming and grabbing with his mouth that bit of artwork and going down the street with it. So if you see Tommy and he's got an image in his mouth, he just wants to show his anger, his rage for the handsome bald guy and his imagery. And yeah, find 30,000 plus at a lot of those sites. And yes, you can find the sites as 4x6s. Prop them up on your desk and make sure you got plenty when they ask about Melton's imagery. Tommy is the no-arm Chinese fellow. Wu, his boss, told him to stick his right arm into a wood chipper. He did that, and Lefty, the left arm, wisely jumped off, leaving Tommy with no arms. He's always referred to Lefty as the traitor deserter arm. And Lefty doesn't like Tommy just as much as Tommy doesn't like Lefty. Rhea, his girlfriend, has insisted that Tommy go to a doctor because of his snoring, so he's gone to the ear, nose, and throat specialist. He's in there, and he's, mouthing through the magazines, and he finds, yes, Lefty is a hand model. He sees Lefty making lots of money as a hand model, and it bothers him, and he's tearing up those magazines. When the doctor comes out, he looks down and he sees that one, the Virum with Dale. And admits, and he says, "So you're the one who's been emailing me, texting me?" Yes, Tommy's not going to have a good doctor's appointment. Mia and Leah have had to do a lot of strange things working for Tommy, the no-arm Chinese fellow. But this one takes the cake. He's on his way home, and yes, he's getting on that unicycle. Doesn't need the bicycle, doesn't have any arms. And he has them tie a plastic rat to his belt there. It's a cat. A trap, yes. And they ask, why are we tying a plastic rat to the back of your unicycle? And Tommy says, oh duh, the real ones start to smell. And it worked a little too good. Rhea had to shoo all those cats away when he got back, and he's real, when he got home, yes. And he's real, scratched up. And he's going to have to eat a bologna sandwich tomorrow because Rhea let all the cats get away. We are at a photo op in Russia. And one of the reporters holds up a big 5 and says, President Trump. Why can't I reach Melton? When else will my phone not be allowed to work? And he kind of interrupts her and he says, I'm not Trump, I'm Putin. Would you like Trump's number? And the reporter says, yeah. It's unlisted. Help me. And Putin takes out his phone and gives her Trump's number and Susan Wojcicki of YouTube's number as well. Good folks to ask about America's Hijacked Lifelines. Funny thing happened with my blood sugar today. I had my sleep interrupted. I could have slept another 2 hours, but I had to go let the nurse in. She called directly after my sugar check of 389, fasting, of course, as always. And then went down, let her in. Less than half an hour later, she's taking my blood sugar, and it's 420. Who knows what it's really is. It's those the same high-tech toys, hijacking culture. Right now, 424-229-4140, make a video of it. These are some desperate folks, desperate as those who volunteered the medical community for this image here. The Muslim Martha Mesa down the street with Dignity Health, close relationship to them. responsible for my trip to the emergency room there and not getting any relief. It's also similar to, if those of you check out those older Tommies from before over a year ago, yeah, you'll see the I got counts up into the 500, and I'm exactly the same as the counts in the 200s of 100. Yes, it's the Three Stooges, I think, but you never know. I do know it is a lot of folks heard in the medical community a very close scrutiny with that Wormwood Day of the ever-present eyes and ears of technology. Oh. AT&T that bought Spectrum to harass Chris in the wheelchair is backsliding. They have the trucks here with the actual names. I don't see one oh, way over there. Yeah, they're threatening I think. LA Police Chief Michael Moore is at a photo op, and he's there because one of his Oriental officers has done something wrong. And one of the questions the police chief is asking, oh yeah, he's got sunglasses on, not because he, it's Hollywood and all that. Well, it is, but not because of that. He's got sunglasses on because he's got two black eyes, one from the Mormon cult perverts on hand with Solari Enterprises at Teak Terrace here harassing a Christian in a wheelchair, and the Iranian Muslim cult there as well. And they asked, why can't we reach Melton? He says, I don't know, I'm just waiting for the dangerous Muslims to kill him. Yeah, tongue reverse camera for some reason. Had some helicopters. Oh, recently. Remember to point out that, yeah, I don't know, I made a nice one. Put it on the YouTube and the Instagram about senators on the wrong side of that Russian financing force. It's still not focusing. There we go. And how they're having that phone ringing. Air message, busy signal. Their campaign centers are as they try to get reelected. Not one Flight 93 check in a decade of asking, get it on video. For that Senate subcommittee stuff, whoever might be in the senator's shoes.